Hello, good people, and welcome to the Amateur Hour. My name's Justin,
My name's Tyler.
I'm the one called Junior.
and today's sponsors are EBXYA and Adam Stone. Welcome back, Spotify listeners, and iTunes listeners, and YouTube listeners, and we can't forget SoundCloud. We're on all 4 platforms, and it's good to be back. Today we're down a man. Junior, despite you hearing him in the intro, he's actually not here today. Unfortunately, he had some prior engagements. Tyler, how are you doing?
Fantastic, or something like that.
You know, recently I've been sitting and I've been thinking. You know me, when I start pondering, I start going places. I've had a little bit of nuisances, right? I've been going to some stores. I've been hitting some pet peeves, if you will. Now, Tyler, I feel like we're men of many pet peeves.
Let's just say a lot of things irritate me.
Yeah. I think for me too, like secretly, there are things that just randomly just hit the nerve, and sometimes they're stupid, sometimes they're not. I'm pretty self-aware for the most part. What's a pet peeve of yours? Like, for example, I was at the store the other day, and I don't know, I felt like wearing a hoodie. I was out late. I just wanted to grab some snacks real quick, you know. Grab my mask and everything. Got ready to go to the store. I was at the store. Had to use the bathroom. I'm obsessed with washing my hands. And I got my sleeves wet, okay? And nothing like irritates me more than washing your hands and getting like wet sleeves and then just feeling that just wetness at the palm of your hand. You know what I'm talking about? Do you ever like get in that sort of mode where you're just like, nah?
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing. Like, I can't stand that. But, I mean, you could move the sleeve out of the way from the water.
Very true. But that's the thing, is it slid down. All right. I always move the sleeve, but it slides right down, hits my freaking hand, and it just feels awkward the whole time. I don't know why in my brain I'm secretly like, okay, maybe people think like, I don't know, I fell in a freaking fountain, because sometimes that's how wet my sleeves feel, and I'm just thinking that everyone's staring at me, or like sometimes I think I'm like, maybe they think like, you know, I dropped something in the toilet, had to grab it real quick. Either way, it's disgusting. And I just think that that's what people are thinking, and I'm like connecting, and it's just I'm under this irritation of sorts. And yeah, I don't know. I have another pet peeve, and tell me if you sort of relate to this. When you like go through, let's say, right, you're talking to someone, be it your significant other or just someone in general. You're into a conversation, you're texting, you know, maybe your feelings, maybe you're texting like this whole thing about something real cool, and you get a one-word response. That annoys me so much.
Oh, yeah.
It is like...
Or the typical ones like, I know. Or, yeah, you're right. Or, okay. Or when they just put the letter K.
Oh. You know, I tell you something. For my parents are definitely they're the sweetest people alive, and sometimes I'll have like a long text, let's say notifying them where I'm at or doing something, and I just get K back, and I'm like, okay, first off, why? And I'm like, second off, why? I'm just like, I don't want a one-word response. I just want, like, just give me 2 words.
Like, you could have at least put the 2 letters okay, or spelt out okay.
Yeah. I'm like, what do we do?
Or all right, but no, just K.
Yeah, we took a trip back to 2012, apparently, where
Yeah,
K
we
was
don't
a big
have
thing.
the 9-digit keypads anymore, where you press the button 3 times and it's actually a chore to spell out okay.
Yeah, like all those acronyms, I felt like started from, you know,
Well, that's exactly why they started, because you had to press less buttons.
So getting that one-word response, that's like irritating. Is there any other sort of like texting sort of modes where someone does something and it just absolutely annoys you?
No punctuation at all.
Really?
Like, say someone gives you that really long text message and it's just word space, word space, word space, word space, word space until it's over. There's no punctuation or anything. I don't know. I've always put punctuation and everything in, so it just annoys
Really?
me.
Sometimes, like, I feel strange when it comes to that. So, like, sometimes, like, I could type out something real long, right? And, like, if it's real long, I'll add periods and stuff, right? But then, like, I never, it's always the last sentence. As long as it's not a question or something that I'm trying to have an exclamation to and, like, make it seem like it's this big deal, I normally don't put a period at the end of it. Just because I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, I feel like the period at the end makes it seem like you're really serious.
You just have to hit the space bar one extra time.
Yeah.
You just go beep, beep, right at the end. Period. Send.
Yeah, I always feel like I always feel scared. I'm like, I don't want someone taking me like too serious in this, or like I want it open and friendly, so I don't put a period at the very end of it. But like sometimes I guess I add that punctuation. But would
No,
that
if I'm
irritate?
serious, it'll be 3 periods.
And then there's the 3 period system.
Like
See,
I'll let you know when I'm irritated. I'll say something and be dot dot dot.
I surprisingly enough, I go with the 1 period system where I'll just like boop, just like if I'm upset or I'm trying to be serious, and I'm at that last sentence, I'll add that period. Which I guess probably can get misconstrued if people don't, I guess, text me quite often. What's another pet peeve of yours? Let's besides texting, what else gets you?
When you're playing like video games or something, and what the other person does is just completely irrelevant to everything that's going on around them, let's say they build something and they just have a part of it just missing, and it looks like it's like unsupported, like it's floating or something weird. That kind of thing irritates.
Yeah, I would
Like
have to
for
admit.
for example, let's say you're playing Minecraft and you tore down a tree, and the one log was up in the air and you couldn't reach it. So rather than stacking a couple blocks of dirt to get the log to disappear and then take it back down and go away, they just leave the log up there, and then all the leaves and everything, because the log is still there. That's how Minecraft work. All the leaves and everything are up there, but it's just floating. That's one of those things where like I see it and I'm just like,
Like I wish it would just fall down. We've
right.
had that like in Astroneer too, where it's that little triangle
Oh
of
yeah, you're
like,
driving your rover and the whole freaking thing just stops and you have no idea
yeah,
what
you
you're
get stuck
because
on
it's
it,
warped inside the rover and you cannot see it. Yeah, exactly.
and then you gotta take apart the rover, and then get the little speck of dust that is irritating everyone, and
Yeah,
then
like
like, oh my gosh, yeah, I get you on that one.
Minecraft, I understand. It's a completely like whatever you can build kind of game. So some things you do actually want them to float, I suppose. But it should just be regular like basic game physics. When I cut a block off a tree, whatever's above that block should fall.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Those sort of physics
Or
sometimes just get super
or
annoying because,
that little speck.
yeah,
If there's nothing around it supporting it and it was part of the ground, it should fall like a rock.
exactly. Because it's like you want sometimes the area to be super clean in a video game, especially when it's like one of these video games where you can manipulate the terrain, and
Hmm.
it having that sort of aspect where it leaves these like certain specks of that thing left over is the absolute. It can be very annoying. I think a pet peeve of mine too, like getting into this sort of video game topic too, is like when you're playing a video game, right? And you're into the cooperative story and you're like super into it. And then the other person's just, mucking around, going around the area, like horsing around, having fun, whatever. And it's like both of your first time playing a video game and like you're trying to get into the story and understand what's going on. And that person's just horsing around the whole time. And you're like, no, like take it seriously. I want to enjoy the game. Like I want to take this like tactically, or I want to take this like very like stealthily or something like that. And that person's just off like mucking around and just horsing around, not taking the game serious. Have
My
you?
thing is same kind of scenario. You're playing a co-op or you're playing something, and you're doing this level, you're super involved. It's really like a complex level. And then a portion of it where you get to something, you can tell like the game creators or something just totally dropped the ball because they couldn't think of an idea or something. So it was just that part was like missing, or it just went by like super simple because they didn't, like I said, they didn't put any time or thought into it. And then you get to the next part and it's all like elaborate again.
I can agree with that one. I think, and thinking back to what I was saying along the lines of being serious and not serious in games, surprisingly enough, for Tyler normally being someone who horses around, I remember when we played Gears of War 4 specifically, and in that game, I was happy because you definitely took it to like where it was trying to focus on the story, and I was like, I was happily surprised.
I wish all the Tomb Raiders were co-op. Because all the puzzle stuff you do in the Tomb Raider games, imagine that with two people.
They are co-op, so
Not all of them.
not the campaign. So part 2 and 3, which is 2, I believe is no, not Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Wait, is it Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Yeah, no.
That's
2
what I
is
mean.
Rise of the Tomb Raider,
Going
and
through.
3 is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. In Tomb Raider 2, which is the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Oh wait. Oh gosh, which is which? Either way, in the second Tomb Raider, it is cooperative, but it's like a sort of wave mode in a way, where you have to survive with your other person, and you can
Yeah.
raid tombs and stuff, and it's like a huge open world map, but you have to like stay warm, you have to hunt to
Yeah.
craft things. And then in Tomb Raider 3, I believe it's specifically like puzzle related, where it's like having to open these like tombs. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
I'm talking like the campaign and everything. Like I wish that part was co-op.
I think I just got hit with another pet peeve of mine, and it's like when you're just having a conversation and then like I don't know if you've ever been cut off or something like that, where someone just randomly butts their head in your conversation, and then they start like adding stuff right to your conversation, but
Oh,
you
yeah,
were
when
like
they
in the
had
middle
no
of
part of it.
talking.
When they had no part of it at all, they're just like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, they're like, "Oh yeah," and then you're like halfway through your sentence, and the person's, they're getting in the freaking conversation. You're like, bruh. Or the overuse of the word dude. It could be from a girl, it could be from a guy. It don't matter who it's from, but
Like, dude, or like they're the same.
yeah,
Did you see like this show that like the guy like shut the fuck up?
yeah. It's always like dude. Like I'll use dude and I'll use bro. Like I think with my friends sometimes frequently, but I can't hear it too much, or I start getting annoyed. I start like I can't handle hearing the word dude all the time. And then it's just like, or I don't know if you've ever been interested in someone and you're texting them and then they just call you dude. And like, there's nothing like more heartbreaking than being called dude by someone you like, because then it's just like it's one of those things where
Friend-zoned?
exactly. Now you're forever in like just like cue like the Twilight music where it's like do 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 do. It's the friend zone, and it's just like it's very upsetting and very sad. I think I've had that happen to me several times in my life, and there's nothing like more disappointing than hearing that word dude from the chick you like or that person you like. It's just like you're like you just want to start crying. I think that would be maybe along the lines of pet peeves, but doesn't happen really, I guess, too often. I have an irritation with waiting in line.
Oh yeah.
If I go to like Six Flags or something like that, you better believe I'm going like on a weekday. People don't go because I can't handle lines. That's a pet peeve of mine. Even at the grocery store, if it's a 20-minute line, 10-minute line, I'm already dying.
Some places I can wait in a line, but if it's like a fast food place or something like that, and I see the line, I just turn around and walk out.
Oh yeah, same.
Like okay, if I'm grocery shopping and grocery shopping already sucks anyway, and oh crap, now I gotta wait in the line to check out, whatever. But if I'm driving down the road and I'm like hungry and I want some lunch and I pull into Wendy's and I walk in the door, or I want to go to the drive-through and there's like 10 cars in front of me, or there's like 5 or 6 different families with their children in front of me in line, I'm just like, nope, next door. we'll find another place to eat. I'm not doing this right now.
I once went out with one of my friends, and shout out to you, Sophia. And we were trying to like look for a place to eat, right? I was like, you know what? We normally go fast food. And this was like I think before Rona ever came about. And we're looking for fast food, and or we didn't want to look for fast food, and I was getting hungry, right? And so we were like, we're gonna hit up a restaurant. It was a Saturday, and I don't know, it felt like it would be like not a busy Saturday. We went to the mall, and I think we went shopping somewhere else as well. And we're just hanging out, we're having fun, and going to eat. Finally, I wanted to go like actually like a steak restaurant because I told him like, you know what, let's eat somewhere that feels like just like good dining. I could go for a good steak. So we go to the steak restaurant, booked. I was like, oh my gosh, filled. And I'm like, it's just an average Saturday. I don't feel like it's a Saturday where it's like it should be busy. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I felt like there wasn't as many people out. But when it came time to eat, it was like everyone was at a restaurant. We went to like Chili's. That was filled. We went to another restaurant, filled, and it was like, and I was getting so hangry and so irritated, and we just kept. I told her if the line is 30 minutes, I'm not gonna wait. Until finally we went to this one restaurant, out in Crown Point. I forget the name of it. If I think about it later, I'll probably. I think it was like Route. I think it was like Route something. Either way.
Beirut?
No, I forgot. It's kind of off the.
Where was it at? Off the square?
Yeah. Either way. The point is we went to that restaurant and it was like a 20-minute wait. And she's like, it's 20 minutes. It's not 30. And I was like, alright, I guess I'll wait. But I was still irritated, okay? Because I had to sit there in line and just like wait to eat. And then there's people that felt righteous enough to try and cut us. I think that would be a pet peeve for anyone too. People who cut in line. Sure. And it's just like,
I was
why?
waiting in line at Jimmy John's the other day, waiting for a sandwich. And they just opened. They opened at 11. And I walk in there at 11:05. There's already like 4 or 5 people. Apparently, these guys like their sandwiches. So there's already a line after 5 minutes. And we're waiting. And, there's a couple of girls in front of me. And then me in line. And then there's like 4 or 5 other people that are even behind me. And this old guy walks in the door, right? There's clearly a line. And the 2 girls walk away down over to the drink machine after they just got their cups. And the old guy just wants to step right in front of me. So then I'm just like, yeah, I know you're old, but hello, there is a line here. And then he's like, oh, well, I just wanted to order real quick. No, you're not just going to order real quick because there's also 6 more people behind me that just want to order real quick. And he wasn't like old. He was like in his 50s. So he was just being the douchebag that most people pull up after they just stepped out of their Porsche and then they just want to walk in and be a douchebag because they're entitled.
That has me thinking, like, have you ever stood in line with, like, sometimes I'll go and I'll just grab, like, one item, right? And I'm just chilling in line, waiting, relaxing, and all of a sudden, right, like, but here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. So I was sitting in line one time, right? And I only had, like, one item. I was buying a pizza, right? It was just for me. I was home by myself. Family was gone. I didn't feel like cooking like a whole pasta. I was like, I just want something easy. So I go to get a pizza, and I'm in like a freaking 20-minute line here. And like maybe there's like 3 people ahead of me, and I'm only in a 20-minute line because whoever's in front of me has like a crap ton of stuff. And I'm kind of giving them the look. I'm like, hey. I'm like, I only got one thing. Can I cut? Like, have you ever had that sort of like moment where I've had the moment where people are like, you know what, you have only one item. Go ahead. It'll be fast. And I've done it too.
So how that is, like for me, if I'm waiting in line and you come up to me and ask me, like say I have a whole cart full of things and the person just, the one thing that the other person has. If they come up to me and like ask me, "Hey, can I cut in front of you?" I'm just gonna be like, "No." But if I turn around and I look at you and I'm like, "Oh, that person lady got one thing. Hey, you want to jump ahead?" But if you ask me, it just triggers me.
I'm the same way.
Like, if I look at you and you have like one or two things, and maybe you have your little kid holding your hand or something, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, go ahead. There's no reason for you to wait. I'm only going to wait 30 more seconds on you anyway." But if you come up to me and you're like, "Oh, hey, can I jump in front of you? I just got this one little thing," I instantly don't give a fuck at all.
I agree.
Because
Like,
you like right there makes me feel like, oh, you're too good to wait for me. Like you have to cut the line because you can't wait because you're too impatient. Like that thing when people are just impatient because they're being selfish, I cannot stand it. I instantly just lose my shit and like, no. I don't give a shit when that happens.
I 100% agree with you in that aspect. It's something about like what you're saying. That person coming up to you and saying like, "Can I get in front?" And it's just like, nah. But
if I turn around and I see you and I notice you and I'm like, "Oh, you're only holding one little thing in your hand. You just want to check out real quick, but you're patiently waiting. Hey, go ahead right in front. I see you only got one thing." That's but it's when they ask me the question, "Hey, can I cut you in line?" And there's no please or there's no nothing like that. They're just like, "Hey, can I get in front of you because I don't want to wait?" Like, no, you're gonna wait now. And I'm gonna take a while to find which card I want to use, and I'm gonna count my money real slow to make sure it's right because you just pissed me off.
Yeah, it's just something irritating about that. I know it's so minute, everyone, but like I don't know. Maybe there are people not like that, but I'm the same way. It's just something. It's got to come from my own goodwill. But like, have you ever been in line and then like everyone's like kind of staring at you? You know, they're standing in front of you, and like you're staring at them, and they're staring at you, and you have like I had this one pizza. And they didn't want to let me go in front of them. And I'm kind of like, I'm giving them the brows for people who can't see me. I'm like, my brows are moving like up and down, like, hey. Like, like me in front of you. That gonna be a thing? And like, they don't even let me go. And like, you could tell like I'm a little bit in a rush, but like, I'm trying to be friendly about it. Like, hey. And maybe they're like,
that's the thing. If someone like hinted or like was being polite about it or whatever, then maybe. But if you just straight up ask me, "Hey, can I go in front of you so I don't have to wait in a line?" I'm just gonna be like, "No, you're gonna wait for that one item."
It's almost like being told to like be quiet. I don't know if you've ever been told, like, even if you're in the wrong and someone comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, can you shut up?" Or like, "Hey, can you be quiet?" Do you ever just get instantly annoyed? That's just like,
yeah, right there. I'm like, "Hey, can you fuck off?"
right? It's like something about that. Even if I'm in the library, right, and I'm in the wrong, and I get told from a librarian, "Hey, like, can you be quiet?" I'm just like, no, like no.
And then right there, like you're like, "I wasn't being that loud anyway, so fuck off."
Like, I know it's a douchebag to do, like, but it's just like it's something that like innately just it clicks in my brain. It's like that pet peeve of mine. It's just like, no, you can't tell me to shut up.
I will say, like, there has been times where I know that I have gone too far and I should have stopped. If it's one of those times, sometimes I will accept it and stop. I will be somewhat annoyed in the back of my head, but I will accept it and stop. But when it's the time when you're talking quietly, like say you're in a library, you're talking quietly to your friend next to you, and someone goes like shh or something like that, and you just turn around and you want to fucking scream at them because you know you weren't being loud.
Like that like reminds me of a time like I went to Adam Stone's when I was managing him. I was at his dorm, and it was the late night management sesh. We're sitting there. It's me, the co-manager Denise, which our friend as well, and Adam Stone. And we're sitting there, we're chilling, we're relaxing, and all of a sudden, out of freaking nowhere, we get hit with, his friend. It was late at night. Let me preface this by saying it's late at night. It's like maybe 10 o'clock. And,
Not even that late.
yeah. And his buddy, his dorm mate, is sleeping. He gets up. He gets out of the room. He says, and we're being loud, we're laughing, we're joking. And he gets out of his room and he says, "Can y'all shut the F up?" I was like, "Whoa!" And like instantly I knew I was in the wrong, but I was still like, "Oh," and I was like super pissed. In my brain, I was super angry. And I was just like, and I shut up. And then like we quietly went to Adam Stone's room after that. But like we were like, I was super annoyed in the back of my brain, like you were saying. And I knew I was in the wrong. I was like just slowly like angry as we went to the back. But
Dude, right there, I would have been like, majority rules. So can you like completely fuck off?
yeah, but I mean, it would have been rude, right? The dude is sleeping, so I agree. But in my brain, I was just like, nah. My pet peeve wasn't having it.
Right.
Do you have? Okay. I have another pet peeve. It's like, let me think. It's on the tip of my tongue.
When you're driving
Go ahead.
and you're stopping for the stop sign, like because you see other people waiting, and then this other person from the completely like opposite road, you can see him look first when he's driving up to the intersection, and then he just rolls it.
Yes.
I want
You
to
make
pull
that
out
eye
in front of that
contact.
I want to pull out in front of that person and just smash into them. That irritates me so bad.
I agree 100%.
Like even worse when it's a red light, not even a stop sign, like a red light. Happens all the time when I'm out in like Gary, East Chicago, whatever. I'm driving behind people and the yellow light it turns yellow, okay? The person in front of me, they hit their brakes. You see the brake lights light up. They start to slow down. You watch their head look left and right, and the light turns red, and then they just floor it. Like you're that impatient. You looked and everything first, but you were so impatient you couldn't stop for 2 seconds.
Or you probably have this too. Out in the East Chicago, Gary, Maryville, and Hammond area, I'm calling all of you out. People just stop out of nowhere in the middle of the road and take a turn to like get into, like, let's say they're trying to get into the gas station or something. Like no turn signals, no nothing. They just stop and go.
And they're in such a rush. The speed limit's 35, right? They're doing like 50 miles an hour, and all of a sudden they're like, I gotta turn here right now.
Yeah,
like,
and you're going their speed, and they just stop out of nowhere. No turn signals, just to turn.
I'm flowing with traffic. I wasn't ready for you to just slam on your brakes without a signal or a warning or anything. Had you put your signal on, I could have like switched lanes, and then you could slam on your brakes and whip in there real quick like some kind of asshole. But no, I'm gonna be a dick, and I'm gonna slam on my brakes and then go. Or when they're driving, you see them pick up their cell phone, right? Well, for some reason, picking up the cell phone equals letting off the gas.
Oh, yeah.
Get off the road then.
Yeah. Don't text and drive. Hashtag, I'm a part of that too. No, I'm just kidding. I do that sometimes, I'm not going to lie.
If you can't maintain your speed, use your cruise control or something. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to be that stupid, just don't slow down in front of me because it irritates the fuck out of me.
Here's a pet peeve of mine and also a question. All right. Sometimes I go on YouTube and I'm scrolling through my subscribe, trying to look at what to look at. I'm just trying to think of what I want to watch. And, which is, by the way, you guys should subscribe to Amateur Hour on YouTube. Anyway, when I'm not watching the Amateur Hour on YouTube and I'm just scrolling through, I always find, and I'm curious if, like, you know if this is a thing or not, but I'm randomly subscribed to other channels. Have you ever encountered that? Like, I'll be subscribed to someone that I never ever and I know for a fact I didn't click subscribe to them, but I'm subscribed.
I have not had that. But I will have, like when I'm scrolling through my subscribed section, there's recommended channels that I should subscribe to. Don't give me that shit.
Oh yeah, you gotta
If
like
I'm on
update it.
if I'm on the normal feed, where you're just scrolling through anything on YouTube and it shows you all this random stuff that they would think you might want to watch, and it shows you a mix of all your subscribed stuff, that's where I should see that. But when I go to my subs only, I do not want to see anyone else. I subscribe to them so I see them.
I that same thing happens to me, and I have to like refresh the either if I'm on browser, I have to refresh the browser, or if I'm on my phone, I have to like just scroll down so that way it refreshes itself. And like that is definitely a big nuisance. But like I don't know. I remember I've hearing other people about like the subscribing issue, and like they've ran into this issue where it's randomly subscribing them to people they've never subscribed to before. Like the other day I was on it and it was just like it was subscribed to some stupid YouTuber that like they weren't gaming, they weren't nothing. They just were like some I think random vlogging channel or something like that. And never in my life have I ever heard of this person, nor subscribed, nor liked any of their videos because then I was looking, I was like, okay, maybe I like something. And no. And it was just subscribed to them. And I'm like, YouTube, are you doing some shady stuff? Like is
Yeah,
someone paying for subscribers and like they're subscribing me to that person? Like, I don't know. It was a weird phenomenon.
if that's the case, you better shut that shit down like right now.
Yeah. And talking about shutting some stuff down, we're actually at close to 30 minutes. So, you know what? I hope you guys enjoy a word from our sponsor. I often find myself wondering, what's next? What lies ahead? Where do I go? How far will I go? We often think about tomorrow. But what's the point? What's the point of not looking at what we have in front of us? Why not look to the present and be grateful? Why do you run from today? What difference does it make if everything you have today can be gone tomorrow? So I urge you, live for today. Search EBXYA on Amazon today to get all of your XLR cable needs. Link in the description. So I hope you guys enjoyed that word from our sponsor. Welcome back. I would like to take a moment to say please follow us on our social medias. Don't forget about our Instagram and Twitter. You can get all of the updates for the podcast. Anything new, any schedule releases that are going to be pushed back, anything of information-wise that you guys need to know about the next episodes coming up, go over to our social media. On Instagram, it's the amateur hour _, as well as on Twitter. So if you guys would like to do that. Also, everything's linked in the link in the description, as well as all of our sponsors and all of our platforms as well. Click our link tree. You'll have our social medias as well as our 4 different platforms. So welcome back, everyone. So I've been thinking about some recent current topics that actually have been in the news or just recently popping up. And one of them was actually, and I know this might be a little bit late, but just the factor that, we're sort of recording this in a certain time frame. The explosion in Beirut that had sort of recently happened. I definitely want to address that and at least say that our hearts go out to those and who were affected by that explosion. I quite don't have the number, and I should have had that pulled up. But in saying so, there was, I believe it says, at least in the article that I read, more than 200 people have passed away, unfortunately. And my condolences go out to those in the explosion of Beirut. Have you seen the videos, Tyler, of this explosion?
Oh, yeah. That thing looked like a nuke dropped.
Yeah.
Like legit mushroom cloud and shockwave.
If this year couldn't get any more crazier than it has been, we had this huge freaking video of this explosion. When I first seen that, at first I didn't know if it was like real or not. I was like, what is this for, like a promotional thing? What's going on? And then when I started like reading more headlines, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like a real explosion." There's one video in particular that I remember. It was like this person in their like apartment building, and they're just sort of recording this explosion, and it just goes up, and then just it sets off like, and like a gust of wind hits them, and the person gets pushed back with their phone, and I thought that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, it was nothing small. It was absolutely massive.
Yeah, it almost feels like a bit of a modern day 9/11 minus the terrorist attack because apparently it's an accident that had happened with a bunch of exposed ammonium nitrate, which set off this huge explosion that like a friggin' nuke. It was horrible. Which is like fertilizer. Am I correct, Tyler? Like certain fertilizers
Yeah, they
and
were they were making farming fertilizer there, I believe.
that's
Nitrate is like what you use to. It's one of the main ingredients.
in a part of this explosion too had sort of no absolute pun intended. It erupted also another a protest with them. The people of Beirut actually started protesting their government, and as I'm aware, I believe a few of the government officials had stepped down due to this large explosion, and I believe it's in Lebanon. Yeah, Lebanon, Beirut. Yeah, so that's absolutely insane. I can't believe like an explosion would literally call to action, a difference, like a call for change in the government. As the specifics, unfortunately, I'm not as well read as to why they want these officials to step down. But I'm hoping it's for a good reason, and I believe it's for a good reason. So I
Yeah,
won't touch on
really
it
go
too much.
past. I didn't really go read into it that much. I just know what the explosion and what caused it. And
Yeah.
last time I read, there was over 200 people dead and several thousand injured and stuff like that.
It's insane, and billions of dollars to fix the that area as
Of
well.
course, like every well, up close to the explosion, there was buildings like I'd imagine, if not leveled, destroyed beyond repair.
Yeah,
But even miles, well, not okay, maybe not miles, but really good distance away from the explosion, broken windows, everything just from that shockwave.
yeah.
So
It's sort of insane the sort of
there's a lot of
situations
repairing
that's
to be
been
done.
happening. Yeah,
So
I,
whatever company exploded, unfortunately, they are in the hole money
so
wise.
for the amateur hour viewers out there who are out that way, because there we do have a few overseas. Our heart goes out to you, from the amateur hour to you guys. I hope everything turns out well, especially by the time we release this. On a sort of lighter note, a bit, but kind of more coronavirus centric sort of update. Recently, Tyler, there's been these like influencers and people hosting crazy amounts of parties with no masks out in the LA area, in over in California. What do you feel about that? Like, just insane amounts. Like, I'm talking about like hundred of people, 200 people in mansions filled with just parties, no masks in sight during a time of pandemic. How do you feel?
Hey, same thing as always. They're all, in my opinion, they're acting stupid, being selfish,
Yeah.
not caring about the people around them.
It's almost like willfully killing people. Like that's I think it's insane. I'm just like, how are these influencers sort of getting away with that? And with that said though, I believe the government is sort of cracking down and saying like no more parties for the for California area. They're really making sure, and I think you'll get charged with a certain fine if you host a large party like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why weren't these rules set in place how long ago?
Ah, right? I agree. I think these rules should have been enforced, but
Because at one end, I can see, okay, some people are sick of being stuck inside, sick of not being able to do anything, blah blah blah. Like obviously that's understandable. But then at the other end, there's the people that are all trying to stay safe and do the right thing. But the whole middle part, the government that's supposed to control both sides of the party, they don't seem to be doing a whole lot.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know, that the lack of control is the bigger problem here. It's not the people throwing the parties, it's not the people that are trying to stay safe. It's the people that are supposed to decide on what we can and can't do and are supposed to enforce whatever law or anything to control this, and that's what's not happening. Yeah, they just said, "Oh, you can't have parties now," but I guarantee there'll still be parties going on that no one's going to find out about because no one's doing enough to enforce it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've had countries like Poland, for example, and the only reason I use this is because we had actually a guest from Poland, Gabriella. She's an artist, also known as Phalantian. Episode, I believe, 19, if you guys want to check that out. But she does discuss the processes that were in place and enforced by the government where they had to keep track of their temperatures and keep track of this virus, and there are actually can get fined for being outside without a mask if it's not in a park area or an area where they could be widespread. So it's like, why doesn't our government?
America, we think we're taking away our freedom. No, we're trying to keep everyone healthy to quit losing lives.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, why has this become a sort of situation of freedom as opposed to, law officials not having to? I don't know. I just I don't know why this is an issue, and I don't know why people had to, as we like briefly had discussed, like you have people standing in front of like Capitol buildings and stuff when this first was all happening, and they're standing with guns and stuff saying that you're not going to take our freedom of not wearing masks. And I mean, I guess, yeah, sure, in a way we all have our right to die by the virus if we want to. But
Yeah,
at the same
we have that
token,
right, but we don't have the right to spread it to other people.
exactly,
Trying
it's
to
what
stay
about
safe.
everyone else's right to stay safe? So I think that's a bit ridiculous, all this stuff that has been happening. I kind of wish our government would force that stuff.
And it's not that hard. Like I go out and I go on a bike ride and stuff. Okay, while I'm riding my bike, I don't wear a mask. Okay, I'm on a bike path.
Yeah.
I'm going. The mask is not going to be great for me. But when we stop somewhere, or let's say we're going to lunch, put the mask on, walk inside the store, grab your food, do whatever, you know. And then when you go back out to your truck to eat, because I'm not sitting in that lobby eating on that. That's no, not
Yeah.
about to do that. But you come back out of the store, you're not by anyone. Now you can take your mask off. It's just being courteous, really.
Yeah, a lot of
You're
times.
just giving some thought about the people around you. And, maybe if you're wearing a mask and someone else around you has it, but they might not know, you know, maybe you wearing your mask gives you a chance of not getting it, or vice versa. What if I'm a carrier? I may not know it because I'm an essential worker who's out all day long going to people's houses, but I wear my mask all day at work. I go to the store. I wear my mask. I go out for a bike ride. I'm not wearing it while I'm riding my bike, but if I make a stop somewhere or we're coming up to a park or something, we have the mask when we need them.
Yeah,
It's just that simple. There's
I
nothing hard about it.
I 100% agree with you, and I do the same exact thing. I wear my mask in terms of going into public. Always wearing my mask. If I eat a meal, um, and especially if it's at a restaurant, you better be sure I'm asking them to sit outdoors and not indoors.
Oh, I don't eat
Um,
indoors. You go to places and they have like every other table blocked off, but
to be honest, I haven't ran into that. I went on a date recently, and one of the places we went, there was actually I didn't see tables blocked off or anything. It was just like kind of like, oh yeah, sit wherever you want sort of deal. But we chose to sit outside to sort of conduct
most
a date.
places I've been to, they are doing every other table. But if it's like a restaurant, it's like they don't even give a shit. They're just going to pack everyone in there, just like normal.
Yeah,
I'm just avoiding those places.
it's kind of
But like
ridiculous.
like when I went to Jimmy John's the other day, they had every other booth blocked off. Or I went to that Mod Pizza place a while back,
Yeah.
and they had the big main table in the middle that's like a bar kind of thing, and everyone sits around it. They had that blocked off, and then on the other side of the store, there's booths. They had every other one blocked off, or you could go outside. I mean, I could see some people doing it, but less than half of the restaurants out there are doing it, which is another problem.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't
As far
think.
as I know, it was required by the government, and the government is not enforcing it, and restaurants are not obeying.
Yeah,
So
that's another thing is like how do you even
that's our
keep that in
government.
check though? That's another question, I wish we had this honor system where people would actually listen.
Well, they had the health inspector people. My cousins, they race BMX. There's a track out in Valpo. Everyone goes to this track. They all put up tents. They all tailgate. They all do this. There's a shit ton of people there. The health inspector came. No one's wearing a mask. Way too many people in the area. Too many tents up. No one's supposed to be tailgating or any of that. And the health inspector came and checked everything off and said it was okay. That shouldn't have happened. That should have got shut down. That's
It's
that's what I'm saying. The people that are enforcing are not doing their jobs, and
they're
then everyone that's like, "Oh, it must not be that bad because they're not enforcing it so much." That's the issue.
this outrage culture in a way doesn't help. Being outraged for like the most minimalistic things is absolutely affecting our safety nowadays. So, what would be more or less how do you feel about this sort of outrage? I mean, I know this is like something we've attacked a few times, but it's just the reason I think we attack it so much and talk about this outrage culture so much is because I think it needs to be put to a stop. It needs
It's
to end.
constantly it's constantly getting worse. No one's it's like what everyone turns to for anything is some kind of outrage, some kind of violence, anything like that. That's where everything's being pushed to now. So I didn't really read up on it. I didn't really go through the details on it. There was another person in Chicago somewhere that got shot, and people exploded it on social media and said the cops gunned down another person. And then we found out later that the person that was killed opened fire on the police first,
Oh,
and then the cops fired back and killed him. When it first initially happened, instantly people got on social media and said, "We're meeting in downtown Chicago and we're going to loot and do all this stuff."
yeah. See, now that's a no
So
go. See, that's what out.
it shouldn't that's the outrage culture. That's first of all, they didn't even get the whole story. They took advantage of the situation, if you ask me. And second of all, it's just like it's sad to see that we take that approach to try to solve a problem. I don't see what it does. Like, okay, yes, you want to get your message across, but get your message across about what? A
Yeah,
black person getting shot again?
yeah,
But here's the thing. He opened fire first. He was
yeah.
completely in the wrong.
Yeah, that definitely is. See, that is a problem with.
Now that's the thing. That's one of those scenarios where you're like, okay, if you're looking at it from the cops' point of view, maybe there was more cops than this guy, obviously. Maybe one bullet could have been fired to disable this guy, and I'm sure more than one bullet was fired. So it could have been handled better. I wasn't there. I didn't read up as much as I should have, but I just know the basic scenario. But at the same time, he opened fire on the cops first. He could have seized his weapon and he could have not done what he did, but he chose to pull his trigger. And now, okay, put yourself in a cop's shoe. You're sitting there and a gun's being fired at you. Are you just going to take the bullet? There's not a right answer. There's wrong on both parties.
When it comes to like firefight sort of situations, anytime I think live rounds are fired at a cop, I think definitely there's not going to really be too much saving the other individual because then that makes it a life or death situation. And I can't really blame a cop when it comes to live fire. When someone killing someone else, maybe there's some sort of other approach to it, perhaps. But I think in a moment like that, if I was a police officer and I was being shot at, I'm assuming this person is shooting to kill, so I think I would do the same. So I don't really fault the cops on that one, definitely, at all in that situation. When it
But
comes to, I think people jumping to conclusions that, yeah, that's a huge fault, and this is why
that's the
I
thing.
agree
Nobody
with
waited
you.
to hear the whole story. And what happened was they said a kid was gunned down in Chicago.
Yeah,
And if I remember correctly, like I said, I didn't read the full details. I didn't pay like a whole lot of attention to it, but um, we later found out that it wasn't a kid. It was a someone in their 20s with a criminal background that opened fire on the police officers first. Apologize if I'm wrong, but if that's actually what happened,
I think in that, and like I said, in that aspect, live fire, I wouldn't say the cops are wrong in that aspect. I think any sort of other aggressive situation, let's say, right? Like if it's just like trying to like hit a cop or something like that, no cop should
now
ever fire on someone.
well, that's what I'm saying. If this kid or 20-year-old, whatever it was, if he was going up to the cops and he was getting ready to punch him in the face or do something like that, and the cop decided to pull his gun and shoot him, that would be entirely wrong. But from my understanding, he opened fire on the police first. You gotta kind of you got it's hard to say whose side you want to take because, like I said, there's one person that was firing on the cops, and I'm sure there was more than one cop firing back. Maybe there's a little bit of wrong on both sides.
Yeah,
You can't really. It's hard to choose a side. Now I can understand upsetting some other people because there's the whole Black Lives Matter movement going on, and as it should be, but it's being amplified because of that.
yeah,
It's just, and there's also people in the crowds that are trying to do the right thing, and there's also people in the crowds that are just like they see this incident happen, let's blow it up and take advantage of everything.
yeah. I think in this moments, when facing outrage culture, I believe everyone should definitely sit back for a moment, listen to the full story, before you react to certain things. In regards to, like, let's say something like this, a shooting.
Well, see, that's why I am not taking a side
Yeah,
because I did not read all the information. I'm just going based off of what a bunch of people have been telling me.
yeah. Well,
So, and I can see where things have gone wrong on our side with the cops, and I can see where things have gone wrong on his side,
yeah,
pulling the trigger first. He
yeah,
had an option not to pull the trigger,
yeah.
and
So
I'm sure the cops had that option too, but like we were discussing earlier,
most
he
definitely.
probably wants to make it home to his family. The cops the same way. He has a family at home.
Yeah, in that regard.
It's just wrong on both sides.
Yeah. So outrage, it's like getting into that sort of outrage culture and reacting before the full story. Yeah, so outrage culture definitely needs to be stopped because I think we need to start thinking about all sides of the story of a lot of things. Like given the example, right, of let's say if we even come across another story like this again where there was a shooter and someone gets killed, rather than jumping to the call to action, kind of waiting for at least reasonings to come out so that way you can therefore conduct your hypothesis in a way, or your feeling towards things. Another thing that had happened that kind of irritated me. There's this other fellow podcasters by the name of H3H3. They also develop a clothing line. They have a clothing line by the name of Teddy Fresh. I own several of their hats. I think they're absolutely wonderful style looking caps. And they had this recent shirt. So it said on this shirt, right, it shows a teddy bear. And this teddy bear's in this yellow raincoat on the shirt, and then on the sleeves of it, it has how do you say, rain clouds and thundering, and it looks like it's gonna storm. And on the shirt, under the teddy bear, it says, "I have crippling anxiety." Now, a lot of people had took to the internet and were talking about how they were outraged at the fact that that this shirt would be released because they felt that it was romanticizing, let's say, mental disorders. And in a way, honestly, I really don't feel that that's the case. It turns out that the creator, the individual who created the idea for the shirt, I believe his name was Ethan of the H3H3, he actually has and suffers from anxiety and crippling anxiety. But it's a sort of like outrage culture where they instantly jumped and started getting offended for people who have these sort of mental conditions and were spouting out and saying that this shirt is absolutely appalling, it shouldn't be sold. And it was just some crazy harsh things that they were saying about a simple phrase of "I have crippling anxiety" in a way that made it seem like this individual who created the shirt was absolutely off the cuff, trying to do this just for purposes of making these mental disorders romanticized or fun. I feel like that was a bit ridiculous on people's end to sort of jump to that conclusion. Just for the factor that, I mean, respectfully so, those who do have crippling anxiety, I don't think this was a jab at them. Fortunately, though, I think despite the outrage, the individuals, they decided to donate the proceeds to a mental health organization. So that's cool. But at the same token, I feel like moments like that, where people are just jumping down someone's throat, making it seem like the person who created that had malicious intentions, that's ridiculous, you know?
It definitely wasn't taken the right way, but it's outrage culture that pushed it in the wrong direction.
I mean, you even have like headlines with there's like even a new song that came out with, it's called WAP or something like that. It's with Cardi B, and that was something people are outraging about because it stands for what a P word. And it's a very sexualized song, and a lot of people are getting outraged by that song as well recently. But I don't necessarily feel like people should, because I mean, it's pretty normal in our society when it comes to music. I mean, there's several, I think, darker stuff out there that people are putting out that everyone is listening to, that maybe shouldn't even be put out. But when it comes to now this new song, people all of a sudden have to be outraged for how sexualized it is, but yet there's so many songs out there that are crazily sexualized and have maybe much worse like words out there, and now people choose this though to be outraged at by. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I generally feel that, again, this outrage culture needs to be put on a halt. I feel like if we're going to get outraged and we're going to get upset over things, understand the context of certain things. Take this one step at a time, people. I don't feel like we should rush into being upset over every little thing. And if you're going to be upset at one thing, be upset at everything. Because apparently, you know, if this song has you upset, well, then get upset at all the other secular, you know, crazy music that's out there, rather than being upset with this WAP, if you will.
Well, that's the problem. Everyone getting upset. If everyone gets upset about everything, it's not going to be a very pretty place to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy how we went from a generation that was, I think, not very outraged to then this culture where we're almost a bit too sensitive. And I'm not saying too sensitive. I rightfully so. I believe there are things we have to be outraged about. But then there's also certain things that you have to look at before jumping the gun, because then it becomes just judgmental in a way. I think at what point do and here's another thing, and I know I'm jumping around, but what sort of makes us entitled to sort of say what's good and what's not, essentially, right? I feel like that going on the judgmental side of things, like I think I'm not the most perfect person too to be saying like, oh, you know, I'm judging this song. Like I could come up with something better, or I don't know. I just feel like we need to chill with this outrage culture, everyone. I want to stop talking about the outrage culture, but it needs to stop happening.
Yep, that's the problem. It's just everyone is people out there that keep on getting, they let it get to them, and then they want to blow it up
And
to
he,
try to solve it. But the problem is they're going to solve it in a negative way, which doesn't do anything. It just makes the situation worse.
and how's this for outrage culture? I'm outraged at outrage culture. Oh my gosh!
It's completely understandable.
Well, in tying up these events, outrage culture needs to stop. Our heart goes out to Beirut. And as for the influencers out there, I think we should be influencing people to be a little bit more safe out there and quit having them crazy parties. I think keep to the limit like the government originally said, which was like no more than 10 people, because we really don't want to be spreading this. Be safe out there. But we're going to cut it to another break, in short. So I hope you guys enjoy this word from our sponsor. Adam Stone, a unique and talented artist hitting the alternative rock scene. Listen to him as he jams his way into becoming a new hit artist.
But now you will, 'cause I am bringing you down. I'll take you off your chair, setting fire what's left from your hair. Someday.
Listen to Adam Stone singles for free on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Surrounding me. I don't know why I was chosen to live like this every day, every day, every day. I don't know why pain.
You can follow your favorite ghost, Adam Stone, on Instagram and Facebook. Link in the description. And I hope you enjoyed that word from our sponsor. Please remember, you could find all of our sponsors in the description below. Whether you're in Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So please go over there, click on those links, show them some love, get yourself some XLR cables, listen to the wonderful Adam Stone, who created also our new intro song and outro song. And don't forget about our buddy BMMB, who does all the animations. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing that lovely reoccurring animation. Check it out, see what's happening. He's definitely really cool. He's got his own YouTube channel as well as social media. He posts on it quite frequently. So for you guys, be sure to check out him in the description below. All of the individuals who work on the Amateur Hour podcast are linked below. And follow us on our social media and all 4 platforms. Remember, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Don't forget about YouTube. We're all over the place. You guys have tons of room to follow us on all these platforms. So be sure. You guys have no excuse anymore. Choose whatever platform you prefer. Tyler, you had something you want to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Back to video games. Best survival game. Hit me with one.
Survival game. Just because at the top of my head, this has been the most fun that I've been having, is I'm going to say Astroneer. I love Astroneer. One of my favorites. It's a space exploration game. You can manipulate the terrain. You're building you're building your own space base on different planets. You get to travel to all these different planets. You can play with up to 8 people if you have your own server. I don't know. I just have so much fun with that game. It's insane. It's insane the amount of fun I have.
I agree. It's a fun game. But can you really consider it a survival game?
Yes, you can.
Because when we were playing, yes, you can craft a whole bunch of stuff. Yes, you have to go find the materials. You have to build everything. But the only way I found myself able to die was if I ran into a plant that didn't like me, or if I went outside of my tethers and ran out of oxygen. You don't have to eat. You don't have to sleep. You don't have to. There's nothing that you have to do to actually like control the health of your character.
Well, what makes it essentially a survival game is it's definitely very resource management, which is that checks off one of the boxes.
Oh, for sure.
You have to create tethers and stuff like that to keep yourself connected to oxygen. Which is if you don't know how to do that or can't do it well, you can die, or like losing a vehicle, getting lost in the planet. I think there's several different factors that you can die from. High areas, maybe getting trapped in the core of the earth. There's like so many ways I feel like you can die. Is it at an easier level? I think yes, because they wanted more people to get into it. Yeah.
So it's a not to say a younger aimed for younger audience, but it is more of a
E for
arcade
everyone.
style. So
Yeah, it's like an E for everyone. They want everyone to sort of be into this sort of. And a lot of, I think there's another space game, and I don't know the name of it. It's a PC game. It's got different graphics. It's not as, I think, well done graphically as this other one, but it too is a survival one. And I mean, I guess there's only so much you can do when it comes to eating and not eating. Oh, I know I know several survival games. Sorry, my brain jumped. But one of them is Subnautica. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
that one I have not.
You would probably be interested in this one. So Subnautica is, think of like Minecraft but underwater. It's literally you're playing as a character, kind of dropped into this sort of space-ish type of planet or whatever. It's filled with water. Subnautica. I'm not sure.
So there we go. I found it.
It's really cool. So it's like pretty much it's just underwater. You get to build like submarines. You have to build a base underwater. What else? There's a lot of aquatic vehicles and like aquatic animals that are in this area. Like the deeper you go, you get those weird looking like fish creatures and stuff like that trying to attack you. And you get better resources though the deeper you go. So it's very creepy as well.
So you're always living underwater?
Yes, you're always underwater. It's pretty cool. Another survival game too that I thought of also aside from Subnautica. So people, if you're into survival games, hey, I know a few. There's also No Man's Sky, which is like a more adult version of Astroneer, I'd like to say, because you're managing oxygen. You also have to manage like carbon stuff for your mining tool. You can manipulate terrain. You build bases. The map is the biggest in game history. So if you guys want to look that up.
There is some creepy looking stuff in this game.
Oh, for Subnautica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
You know of No Man's Sky, right? I remember I was trying to get you to get that one because I think that might be cross-platform now as well.
I played No Man's Sky with another buddy when it first came out. And when it first came out, I will say it was kind of crap. It was a little bit of a letdown. But I have read ups on it recently, and there's been a lot of updates, and there is a lot more you can do. Like when it first came out, you landed on a planet, you could dig up the ground and mine for materials, but then all you did was just go back in your spaceship and go to the next planet.
Yeah, there was like really not a lot of base building. The
but
mechanics
now
of it was horrible. Yeah. Now it has redeemed itself, I think, for the most part. I feel like there's still a lot they could add to it, and I think they're still continuing to update that game. So for everyone out there, I would highly suggest it, especially if you're into sci-fi space games. It is so much fun. So please get into that. I couldn't recommend it enough. I'm hoping someday Tyler can get it and we could play that one as well, because that's a survival game I really like. And there's actually
And I'll have to think about this game too, because this one does actually look pretty cool. And the underwater bases that you can build look like there's one picture. I'm looking at it on Steam.
yeah.
There's one picture on here that has like a really elaborate base and a bunch of stuff going on around it. I mean, it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah. And let me get into another survival game, Tyler, that you're going to want to get. Grounded. Have you ever heard of Grounded? It's a recent survival game that has came out.
I have heard of it, but I never looked into it yet.
Well, to kind of preface this for everyone, Grounded is a survival game where you have to eat, you have to stay alive. It's similar to Minecraft, right? Have you ever seen the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I have, but now I'm looking at the pictures and I'm thinking about the movie Ants.
Yeah, it's a bit like Ants, but it's more like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Shrunk, yeah.
Yep. So you play as like 4 kids or something like that. It's up to 4 player cooperative, and apparently you're shrunk in this experiment, and you have to figure out why you're shrunk, how you got shrunk, and I think you have to try and unshrink yourself. But when you get shrunken, you're like in this forested area, quote unquote, because technically it's the lawn of your house. So it's really cool though. There's like ants, there's mites, there's spiders. Which freaks me out because I do not like spiders whatsoever.
Possible giant feet wanting to step on you.
Yeah, it's an insane game, and it's a survival game. You build a base, you build armor. You have to eat, so like you have to roast certain like mites and stuff like that. It's kind of gross, but it's also kind of cool. The graphics are very updated. As far as I've seen on YouTube, it runs really smoothly.
So it's super cartoony,
Yeah,
but I like it a lot actually. And I'm looking at some of the base building stuff. It is pretty cool.
yeah,
It kind of follows the same base building techniques as Fortnite.
exactly. That's another thing that I had noticed, and I'm happy you kind of touched upon that. Was like the mechanics for the building. I mean, I kind of like that though. It's pretty easy. I feel like because you get to see the outline of how it's going to be placed. And it's cool because you like cut blades of grass and stuff. You have to make it out of like rocks and pebbles. You have to make like an axe and everything. So it's pretty cool game. I don't know. There's a lot of I think survival games that have recently come out that kind of have caught my attention. And I'm not really big. I'm not a huge survival game person. Just because I find the resource management a bit tedious sometimes, and it kind of gets on my nerves.
See, I'm a pretty big survival game kind of guy, but also that's because co-op games are kind of my thing. And like right now, kind of survival games are like the major co-op games that are out there. So that's why I kind of lean towards the survival games. But then again, I also kind of like the resource management and all that kind of stuff, and I like building the bases and everything. And so Fallout 76 kind of fits in that category, and it's co-op. So that's a really good one that I actually like. I haven't played all the way through to see how much people say it sucked. I wanted to see that for myself, but since I like Fallout so much, I had to get it. Plus, it was the first co-op Fallout, so I was like, well, I have to get this because none of the other ones were co-op.
It might have redeemed itself, to be honest, because there's a lot of updates for Fallout.
Some updates and stuff, but like I've only got about 15 minutes in the game, so I have no idea. But let's see. You mentioned Minecraft a couple of times, and that's what I was going to mention for what I believe is the best survival game. And
Really?
the reason is because you have to get your resources, you have to build everything, you have to maintain everything. You know, you can build machines, shelter, you can go find like other villages and you can trade with the people there to get materials. There's a couple of different dimensions you can go to in order to beat the game and to get to the rolling credits. But Minecraft is one of those games where, and I think it might be the only game where you can destroy every single block in the game to where you have nothing left, and then you can place every block back. So that's why I say Minecraft, in my opinion, is the ultimate survival game, because you can literally manipulate every last block.
Minecraft
And
to me,
you have to have health, you have to have strength, you have to have sleep, you have to grow, you have to farm, you have to do all that stuff in order to maintain your character's health. And then you also have to do everything else to maintain, let's call it your settlement, where you're living and everything. You have to maintain all that too.
yeah, it's like the more I've stepped into the idea of Minecraft, or like watching videos, because I watch a lot of videos more than what I actually play it. I mean, it definitely is very interesting because there's a lot you can do. I mean, I remember you showed me your base that you had set up and with your cousin, and because you guys have a server, and it was kind of wild, the stuff that you can sort of get done.
Well, actually, an update on that for you. So we found out that when you're playing in Minecraft, now we've learned. See, I knew it was a thing, but I've never paid any attention to it. But when you go so many blocks away from an item, it will stop working until you come back within range of it. So that happens to be about 192 blocks.
Oh, wow.
So we actually ended up restarting our server, and we started from fresh. So we're doing a survival series right now. And we rebuilt everything and redesigned our area, because we found out, like, Josh, he was building an XP farm, and then we had a bamboo farm, because bamboo you can use for fuel. You can burn it in furnaces, smokers, and blast furnaces to get ores and everything out of stuff, or to cook your food or anything like that. But we found that we were often too far away from the bamboo farm, so it went dormant, and then we ran out of fuel. So then maybe I was going to work by the bamboo farm and it was working, but now we were too far away from the XP farm. So you went to go get your XP so you could work on some enchantments or something like that, and then all of a sudden you'd go down there and there'd be no XP to collect because we were too far away from it. So now we have restarted, and we're taking all that into consideration, and we got a brand new world and everything. So, but right now we're to the point where Josh is, we're fresh. Like, we built a house, we found a cave system underneath the house. We may have picked a really bad island because there is mobs galore, and we honestly walked, when we spawned, we felt like we moved the game difficulty level.
Yeah.
I thought that I had it on a higher level when we just played on normal. We couldn't stay alive for more than 30 seconds at a time.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we were getting killed that much. There was zombies and creepers and skeletons and everything all around us. And we were even lighting everything up with torches, and they were still spawning. So right now, our goal is to go through the cave system underneath the house, and we're trying to find all the spawners.
Oh my gosh.
That's step number one. We have a house built. There's a village nearby. I'm trying to move all the villagers closer to my house and build a new village there, so I can use them for trading without having to go too far. And also, those villagers, they usually spawn an iron golem, which kills mobs. So we restarted, and we're still in like the very beginnings of things, but we're doing a legit survival series. And my cousin, he streams it from his channel, Jay Hansen, on YouTube.
On YouTube? Okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah. For you,
Jay Hansen 4196 or something like that.
yeah.
I probably actually know the name.
If you could put it, we'll probably link that in the description for those of you who are interested in watching some wonderful gameplay videos.
I will say it's just gameplay, and me and my cousin are talking to each other about either the game or some other stupid crap. So, and usually the episodes are kind of long. So if that's not your thing, Sorry.
A lot of times he live streams. Is that correct? Is most of
Yeah.
his videos
Yeah, we
live
play
streamed?
live. Yep, we play live.
Okay, so that's why the videos would be long. Everyone, all right?
Oh yeah,
It's
they're
live
they're
stream.
long, and if we're working on something boring, it's not edited, it's nothing like that. You see the boring.
Do you know how frequently he streams? What days he streams?
It's random.
Random. Okay.
It's
Well,
whenever we have time. I'll get off work at night and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to play some Minecraft?" And he says yes or no.
well, if you guys want to see what Tyler's doing outside of the amateur hour, I would go over and check out him and his cousin as they freaking go through the wonders of Minecraft. I will say, I like the mods to Minecraft too. Like I've been seeing, there's a lot of gamers like I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but like there's Vanos and Wildcat and Terrorizer and H2O Delirious, that whole group of individuals. They normally like stream like, or they don't stream, but like they have videos of Minecraft and like they're doing like these fun mods. Like a recent video of the YouTuber Wildcat, he had this video where all the creepers inside Minecraft were invisible. So literally you don't know where they're at. And you just hear the sound and then an explosion, pretty much.
So if you search J Hansen 4196, it'll pull up his YouTube channel. It's the_Grim_Reaper.
Well,
So
there-
I'll send you a link. You can put it in there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find it real quick. A lot of Warzone and Minecraft.
Another mod though.
Warzone because I suck at it.
Another mod talking about Minecraft a little bit more that kind of just had me thinking. That is, how do you say? There's like this mod that like it's like a shaders mod or something like that. So what it does is it makes the water look like water and the trees move like trees.
It changes all the lighting effects and
Yeah.
it changes a little bit of movie mechanics. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Honestly, if I played Minecraft, I would not play it without the shader because it just looks so much fun. And
Well, the sucky part is when me and my cousin are playing, we're playing with a texture pack, so it makes everything look a little bit cooler. It's more of like a medieval texture pack. But in order to do shaders, you actually have to mod the game, and I'm not sure if shaders will work on Realms. So Minecraft Realms is Mojang servers. Well, it might be Microsoft servers. I don't know who owns it anymore, but anyway, you cannot modify the game on there. You can change your texture pack, you can do that kind of stuff. But in order to modify the game, you have to have your own server that you control. So we're not doing mods, but we are doing a texture pack. So it doesn't look like your traditional Minecraft. It looks a little bit better. Trees look a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Textures are higher resolution. The one we're using, I believe, is either 64-bit or 128-bit, where regular Minecraft is only 16-bit. So, but it is still block Minecraft. That'll never change.
yeah, it just makes it. I don't know. I when I seen that, I was like, "This is beautiful." Now I'm kind of interested.
Well, yeah, the shaders and everything, they are awesome because it makes the lighting and shadows and everything like move with the sun and all that stuff. And like you said, the water looks more like water. There's one mod out there that actually takes the blocks out of Minecraft, but it is the most worthless mod ever. It glitches the game out to the point where like you'll be walking and you won't see a hole because it's rounded over, and then you'll fall.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't play with it. It sucks.
Yeah. Anyway, that one doesn't sound too interesting. It's not, the blocks don't bother me. It was just like having that like
Minecraft. That's you know, if it wasn't blocks, it wouldn't be Minecraft. That's my whole thing.
I mean, but it definitely is a fun game. I have to give it its props. I do think it's awesome. I mean, it does sound interesting too. What you and your cousin are doing. But when it comes to games and stuff, as of recently, You mentioned your cousin plays Warzone, but like
Mhm.
that's all I play.
And he plays a lot of it. He's trying to get me into it. And one day I was at his house and he put me on like, you know how you take the tutorial and it shows you how to do everything in the game so you know how to play the game before you throw yourself into it.
Yeah.
Well, I tried doing that and I was like okay here and there, but for the most part, I just straight up sucked. And then I tried to fight some bots. Well, I never had a chance to fight any bots because you drop in a parachute and you're going. Well, I was going around a corner and I turned the parachute and went around, and then somehow I dropped myself on top of a building. And then when I tried to go walk, there was a spot where I was going to run and jump to the next part. Well, I missed that and just fell and died, and that was the end of that match. So
Yeah.
he's like, "No, let's try the tutorial. Let's see if you can get used to the game mechanics or whatever the hell." And I did that, and that was the part where I was like decent here, completely sucky here, and like halfway decent here, and then completely sucky again. And if I were to go back into a real match, I would just die. So
Warzone is not for the faint of heart, I tell you that much.
battle royales are just they're not my thing. I don't like battle royales that
I don't
much.
like
I'm
all
not
battle
much of
royales.
a competitive gamer unless it's racing. If it's racing, I can be competitive. But if it's first-person shooter kind of thing, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, battle royales are definitely I'm picky. Just like with survival games, battle royales I'm super picky with.
Fallout 76 actually has a battle royale thing in it. I
Yeah.
touched on it a little bit. It seemed kind of cool. Same basic function as anything else. The circle closes in on you and forces you all together, and it's last person standing.
Let's get into battle royales for a second. Now that you got me thinking. We got Battlefield 5 had battle royale. I thought that was hot garbage. I was not into it. Fallout's doesn't it I mean it seems interesting, but I don't know. When I think of Fallout, I don't really think of battle royale, so that's an out for me. We have
You'll have to try it because that one seemed pretty interesting to me.
There's also Red Dead Redemption has a battle royale mode as well. Red Dead Redemption 2, I mean.
Red Dead Redemption.
That one not really too interesting. I didn't really like it. Now you have Fortnite. I'm not a big fan of it. I never was.
I hate Fortnite. See, Fortnite, you get the younger generation, and when they die too much, they get upset.
It
And when
just
they get upset, they want to whine and bitch. And if you're gonna whine and bitch to me, I don't care about you.
it's too much mechanics, there's too much going on with it. You got to
I
build.
mean, the game is cool. You can build a structure, you can build a base to protect you. That kind of stuff is cool. You have to, it's kind of like when you're walking around, like you have to cut down trees, you have to tear down a brick wall. You have to get your materials if you want to build something. But
Yeah.
it's the fast paced part where like, okay, you built the structure, you protected yourself, you've killed most of the people around you. Okay, now you're like, shit, the walls are moving in, or the circle's closing in, whatever you want to call it. Abandoned structure. You don't have enough time to tear it down to get your materials back. You just have to run to the next thing and then try it all again. And I've played a few times with my little brother, and I found myself just running and killing. I didn't really do much building. See, he can build really fast, and I can't. When you can build really fast, you can last forever because you can block bullets and stuff and do all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you can't build really fast, then you have to just run and hide and shoot.
Yeah.
And that's
See,
like what I was doing. And I was decent, but it was just the people that are on the server and the attitude of all the players that just ruined the game for me. I couldn't take it anymore.
yeah, see, and that's part of my issue with Fortnite is it's too much for me to really care about it. It's too much building, it's too much going on.
Yeah, like Warzone or PUBG, you drop
Yes.
in, you run, you find a weapon, you shoot a couple of people. Oh, you just found some armor, you upgrade, you got a better weapon, you keep closing in. You're just focused on finding the better weapon, killing the next player.
Yeah.
If you're in Fortnite, you're focused on getting shelter, getting materials, finding the weapon, killing a person, fixing your shelter that just got destroyed, upgrading your weapon, killing another person. You see how there's more and more into it?
Yeah,
Or if
there's
you're like me, you just treat it like the other battle royales and you just run, hide, find a weapon, kill someone, run, hide, find a better weapon, kill someone again.
yeah, it's just I don't know, it's too much. I really like when you said PUBG. I like PUBG. PUBG's another good battle royale. It's
Yeah,
simple,
see,
it's easy.
I can't play these games because of how repetitive they are.
They are. They're
That's another
very.
thing to me.
I will warn people that yeah, they're definitely really repetitive games. And if you lose, I mean, you got to restart. Like I have so many lost games on Warzone. To put in perspective, I have 300 something top tens and only 47 wins. So it's like I have a lot of top tens. I have even more top 25s. And only 47 wins, though, out of like 300 and something games I've played is absolutely insane. So you're talking about almost like an hour's worth of a game or 30 minutes a game each, and, you know, not even winning it. It's repetitive. It's tough. But it's the grind for some reason I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with losing, going back at it, going again. It's like I don't know. For me, it's like thinking about
See, maybe that's why I can't get into it because, yeah, okay, I can be in the leaderboards and I can get these scores and I can have all these wins. But when the match is over, you're just another number. See, that's why I like the survival games because in Minecraft, unless you're in hardcore mode, if you're in hardcore, you die, your world's gone, it's forever gone. But we play in just normal. So when you die, you respawn back at your house and then you go out and try again. But everything you worked for and everything that you built and everything that's like in the world, like tomorrow or tonight, I don't know, whenever we go to play again, it'll be right where we left off and you don't have to like re-achieve things. So
it's
that's just a battle royale thing. Oh, cool. Let's jump into another match. Let's kill another 10 people. Oh, I got another top 10. Oh, I got another win. Let's wait for the lobby to start the new match. Oh, let's do it all over again.
but it's the grind, and then like you get such a euphoria when you win. When you finally get that win, you're just like, I stand up, I scream, I'm like, yes! I'm screaming with my friends and stuff. We're happy and excited at the win that we just had acquired from. So, like, let's say maybe we were playing and we played like 10 games and we lost 10 games, and to finally get a win. Like for this past season that had came out, for season 5 of Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, we were losing and losing and losing. I didn't think I was going to get a win to the end of the season. And there's like 55 days of this season. Fortunately enough, though, I've gotten like already 6 wins this past season. So it's exciting. It just feels so good. 6 out of like 300 games you think that you're really trying. But to even know that you're not as good as like maybe someone who has like 100 wins or 200 and even more beyond that is kind of crazy. But it's still fun. The grind's still definitely interesting, and it's just all about that quick euphoria moment that you get when you get that win.
Yes. I would rather open up like a split screen like war game with the group of buddies and see how many times we can kill each other. Or if you go back to what was it? Call of Duty 3? Modern Warfare? No. It was one where you could drive, and because I was a
Yeah,
better driver than
it was
everyone,
Call of Duty 3.
Call of Duty 3.
Yeah.
I got so many more kills than some of you sometimes just because I ran you over.
Yeah, and that was a fun. It definitely was a
That's the more see, like I don't care about all the people in the server. I don't care about being the last one standing. It's just fun to do stupid shit.
yeah,
And these battle royales, they're just too serious for me.
yeah. That's the thing is I love the competition. I mean, you versus 150 people. I mean, that's insane. And let's say it's only 4 or 3 of you. That's crazy. Which is, I think, why it's like coming out on top, number one out of 150 people. You're like, yeah, this feels good. Something about it too, like just being tactical and just, I'm just obsessed with it as of right now. I do have to get in. There's so many single player games that I want to play. I mean, and even cooperative. That maybe I might even save for another topic at another time where we could get into more actually recent cooperative games and single player games that are coming up. But yeah, my goodness, I have fun with it. Hopefully I'll pay more attention to these other games once this sort of Warzone hype is over, if it ever is over.
Well, hey, if you want to mix things up a little bit, we wouldn't mind having another person in Minecraft.
You know what? I'm considering it. But talking about over and when's it over, I believe we're hitting an hour 30. We might even be going a little bit over time, but you know what? That's the thing. The amateur hour, we're amateur hours at this. We're getting it done. I hope you guys enjoyed a lot of the topics that we had going on. We talked about a lot. Let's recap for a quick second. We got into pet peeves. YouTube subscribing us to random things. I mean, we had the influencers being crazy, outrage culture, people getting upset for no reason, the unfortunate explosion in Beirut, and the best survival games. And we even talked about Warzone taking over my life. I mean, we definitely got into a lot of good topics. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the two OGs, Tyler and Justin. It was just like season 1 we opened. I hope you guys are enjoying the new layout. Please subscribe. Please follow us. Please like and share. So that way, you know what? You could tell other people about us and we can harmonize in other people's ears and just celebrate. But also, everyone involved in the podcast, if you want to follow them, please go into the link in the description. For our animator, you have BMMB. You also have Adam Stone, who created the music, as well as he's a sponsor of the podcast. Don't forget about EBXYA for all of your XLR cable needs. What can I say? We enjoyed having you. We enjoyed you listening. Tyler, you got any words for them?
I've got nothing so far. All I can say is don't forget to support everyone else that works on the podcast, not just us.
That is correct. And if you want to check out Tyler's cousin, link is going to be in the description as well. With that said, we love you. Bye.